How are you, Skibidi Detective here? There's a new episode of Skibidi Toilet, where we're shown the continuation of the journey of a squad of agents through the Skibidi lab, and the dangers they encountered. Fast forward to the Skimmer episode. Specifically, when a strange Skibidi attacks a Vantusmana cameraman. This Skibidi has a valve in his eye, which is an obvious reference to the intro of the first and second of Half-Life. The Skibidi easily withstands a blow to the head and pierces Vantusmana's arm with his needle, but Vantusmana has a new ability. He can pull small spikes out of his hands. He uses them to flip the Skibidi A, and then he pulls out his plunger. But this isn't unusual. The plunger is now covered in spikes. Although in the last series, it was just a normal one, he's improved it during his journey. He pushes Skibidi up against the wall, and then we see a skeleton, and it's a skeleton of a human being. The last time humans appeared in the first few seasons, and everyone was wondering where the hell, and apparently some of the humans were used in the experiments by a scientist named Skibidi at their base. Kills that Skibidi and watches as the red speaker fights off the parasites. He's also attacked by one, and he easily destroys it with the plunger, while the red speaker stuns the parasite and just throws it on the floor, and we're shown the rest of the group. A red cameraman looking into his tablet that has all the cameras skibidist inside the lab, and he's plotting the path for the squad, for example, looking for the safest way through. Obviously, his tablet was hacked into by DA Fakul, and he's the one helping the agents find the scientist. The agents are basically having fun. You could say they're experimenting on Skibidi himself. They shoot Skibidi with a stun cannon, and at the same time they're hitting it with a bat in the crowd. You can see camerons to the base and in the lift in the last episode. It turns out there were 10 of them on the base. Including the operator in the lift, it's 11, including the operator of the Plunger Man and the dead Big Blue Cameron. And here they're down to 12. As many as 12, including the dead. Looks to me like changing the number of agents in a squad is impossible from a reinforcement standpoint, because the big door is closed and the squad literally ran after the scientist and went down deep, and I realized how this is possible. My theory is simple. This is a lab where they're making new Skibidi SOV weapons against agents. But they have to be tested somewhere. There are parasites that they're weak and they need a host. So I've come to the conclusion that the squad, as they traveled, they released the agents that they found in the lockdown, thereby replenished their numbers. The red speaker picks up his knives, and we can see that in the window of the camera shows the Skibidi sons, who are greatly frightened by the rage of the agents in this. There are more cameras in this room. There's a Skibidi owl experiment on there to improve and mutate them. For example, there's perpetually a burning Skibidi with lamps above it. Apparently, the scientists of the Skibidi owls wanted to replicate the ability of TV Wom and Twee Man. Of titanium, then there's some weird twitching Skibidi with a big head and apparently with a small toilet bowl. And lastly, the Skibidi skeletons are a reference to a popular meme, and at the same time to early episodes with KBD Toilet Red. The cameras are hacking in with a device, the doors, and they open, the whole squad goes. Then the funniest ones are the two speaker who just dance to the agents go into a new room. With strange structures, looks to me like they're in a sector of a factory of the acid plant, because you can see tanks and pipes. I'll add more later. Why I think so? There's also strange doors with toilets in front of them and pools of blood. Just imagine what kind of What kind of horrible experiments are going on behind this? And then Cameron's head falls on the floor in front of the cameraman. Cameron's head, and from above the squad, jumps on top of the squad, and the scientist's hybrid experiment, Skibidi, and agent, he rips the camera off. One of the agents gets shot in the back with a cannon, but it doesn't work against him. It's a less successful version of the hybrid because we've been shown similar Skibidi owls before. But those were much stronger, bigger, and better looking than this one. It's got some parts are broken, like the arm. I've built a theory as to why this is so. It says that this type of hybrid was created. Of the agents who died during the battle, their bodies were moved to the lab and they were attached to them with Skibidi owls. That's why they're broken in some places, because they were damaged from the battle and the cannon. It doesn't stun him because it's rigged against the Skibidi owls, but he's got the Skibidi and the Agent Hybrid swings at him. Agent Hybrid takes a swing at the plunger. Mana, but it misses. It must be affecting him. The KT-size broken, but the Vantus prescribes it. Skibidi grabs the plunger and he's about to destroy the plunger when a red spiker, the red speaker, jumps on him and stabs him with his knives, and Manu's plunger is left to finish him off. But he doesn't do that, by the way. He just blinds him with the spikes. The red speaker nods as, from behind him where they came from, there's an explosion. Skibidi's broken doors, which blocking the red camera, because don't forget that the squad's is being chased in the crowd of pursuers. You can see several more hybrids too. All the cameras with the experiments open up and they're slowly peeking out. The door closes and we see that the cameras have opened the passageways further and we have to retreat. The squad runs after the plunger. As from the side of the open door comes Skibidi, but not a regular Skibidi. He's got his eyes and ears. Who doesn't remember a Skibidi like that? Skibidi used against the man, Titan, because they're hypnotic and ultra soundproof. Ultrasound, but the door closes there to the red camera. With the help of the Yes device, he also closes the second door in the corridor, thus saving the speaker from the strange Skibidi. Speaker is glad that manages to escape at the last second and starts dancing. But unfortunately, that Skibidi so manages to blow the door open and the agents are killed. Another door closes. Red camera and the agents run away, but the Gemini cameras stay behind. They realize that they have to hold Skibidi back so that the rest of them escape. The agents run into a safe house with doors that the red camera opened. But that doorway explodes again, and we see the wounded. Cameron's that they won't have time to escape takes away from the red Chamberlain's device, breaking down her doors, and is about to close the squad from Skibidi, thus abandoning the twins. Plunger Man asks him to wait and waits for the twins, but as soon as the Skibidi shows up, the doors close and they die. The speaker closes the doors after all and gives the device back. The plunger is furious at this action because how could he abandon part of the squad? He pushes him and hits him, but then stops, hitting the wall. The red speaker realizes and backs off. I think it was a very difficult, you can tell that before that. The red speaker seemed to dislike the usual Cameron's hand to one of them. When he fell, but he's actually right to risk a squad and a very important mission to take out a scientist for the sake of 2 wounded agents. It wasn't worth it. When everyone ran into the base, they should have realized that this is a one-way mission and they had to finish it by all means. Because so many people died for the chance to kill the scientist. And the plunger himself realized that. That's why he didn't go on beating his Camerons. They sacrificed themselves for the plunger squad. The middle finger to all the Skibidi himself, by the way, about that weird Skibidi thing. It's a Michael Jackson reference, obviously. By the look on his face, the hat and the hair. Well, the squad. Moving on. There's only a handful of them left. 5 agents. My theory is that there would be 2 or 3 agents left at the end, is slowly coming true, and they're going to a place that glows with green. That is the acid factory. Because notice how the decor of the lab has changed. The lab has become sterile, and the doors look like the airtight doors of chemical plants. That's why, by the way, Skibidi Jackson couldn't to break them down. Unlike in the past, they're very strong and acid resistant, but maybe this green light is ability. Yeah, that's the end of the episode. Ends, let me tell you, my theory of what's going to happen in the lab next, as in me. In next episode, the squad will lose more agents, but eventually, maybe in a couple of episodes from now, they'll be able to destroy the scientist. I mean, they've sacrificed a lot, and I can't imagine that it's all was for nothing. And that's it. Thank you for the end watch. Give us a like and write your theories in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel.